Welcome to Burning Bridges podcast. My name is Taimana.
And I'm Renee.
We started this podcast through my own life experiences and the journey to healing. I have always been curious of what others have gone through and the moments that defined them.
Here we believe in the power of storytelling, from raw, unfiltered, exclusive conversations with everyday to high-profile people.
Like, follow, subscribe, and turn your notifications on. Let's get into this episode.
The following episode may contain discussions of sensitive and potentially distressing topics. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. This content is intended for mature audiences and may not be suitable for all listeners, for informational purposes only, and does not constitute professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Welcome to Burning Bridges podcast.
Completing the journey. Kuna 244 te Haati o Iwi. I tutu ake au ki wainui o mata I raro I te mori o Puke Atua, I roto I te kohanga reo o Kōkuri Puke Atua ki te marae tapu o wainui o mata. Wa Aperehama-Rua hau, tēnā koutou katoa. And I'm the creator of Ranga Āringa Iwi Ringa Āranga, which translates to the weaving of the hand, the unwritten language of Iwi, but okay. Kia ora whānau.
Kia pai.
Ngā mihi kwana, ko kauahi pene toro tuku ingoa, he uria hau mai te ati haunui a pāparangi, I te rohe o Wanganui, just a everyday tradie and a papa of two. Ngā mihi kwana.
Ngā mihi. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora. Ko he prangi te mainga, ko warapu te awa, ko hura te waka, ko hina meiria te marae, ko te wai te marae. Ko Ngāti Porou te iwi, through and through. Ko Kelly tuku ingoa. But you can call me Haati Bei, okay? I'm just a mum. That's all I am. Single mum to my daughter. That's it. Oh, and a man. And an auntie. That's it. But I'll just play that role.
Kia ora sis, thank you. Right, let's go.
Doots!
Okay.
Kei te pēa koe, kia ora whānau. It's good to have you with Burning Bridges podcast. We've been through a lot in the last few weeks, and with Hīkoi and Iwi Whakamahu, Aperehama. So we've heard you, other one that a few years ago you end up coming up with Iwi Whakamahu. Can you explain how you got the idea of it and how you birthed it?
So it actually happened last year for Hīkoi for Health. So there was a protest that took place that took all over the country, from South Island coming to Wellington and from the North Island coming down to Wellington. Now at the spot, there were some people from Māpuri who came down who are my siblings, and during that time they got all their hokopuna, their tamariki to sign the petition and join the organisers in there. Now when they came to Wellington themselves, I saw Parliament and the organisers takahi on their mana. So when they takahi on their mana, I turned around and said to all the people, why are we here in Wellington when Waitangi is our Parliament? Now, a few years ago at 42 was actually the first time I mentioned that to my siblings. I was like, why are we all coming here? There's 50,000 of us here in Hornet, yet nothing will come about this because Wellington isn't our Parliament. So that was the beginning phases of walking from Wellington to Ratana and carrying on from Ratana to Waitangi. So that's the reason behind it. And so I reached out to all of our Māori, to our hapu, to our iwi, to see if anyone was on board to come join me on the kaupapa. They all said yes at the very beginning. It wasn't until I went into a relationship with certain TikTok or social media influencers that all hapu and iwi decided to jump off the kaupapa. So yeah, that's the beginning of the kaupapa, pretty much.
And the meaning of Iwi Whakamahu, can you please explain the meaning behind it?
Yeah, sure. So that's actually a straight translation from our bro, who came up with the English saying of heal the nation. So he came up with heal the nation, and I just straight translated that into Iwi Whakamahu. And so that's how the name came about. But I actually used the secondary word instead of our natural word of hauora. Hauora actually means more of a healing journey than anything else. But I used the secondary word in our dictionary known as mahu or mahu with your H. So that's how we came up with mahu. And whaka is to emphasize the word that comes after. So whakamahu is to emphasize the healing relationship. And iwi means nation. So iwi whakamahu is basically heal the nation.
Kia ora. Thanks for explaining that to us Mozzies.
Just to be clear on what it's all about and where it came from and the name, so that's what we wanted to get out there.
And it was such a beautiful experience for us to come over from Australia and be a part of it. We got to meet some beautiful people, great whakawhanaungatanga, whānau that we now have with yous. And then from that was also birthed the Lit Crew. And dudes. Before we get to all that, explain the white van, okay, the crew in the white van. And you and Coley were in that. Do you want to... You can jump in here, Coley, and just give us your perspective of your role.
Yeah, ka pai. So for me, I guess my role was mainly to assist in any sort of role needed. Like I played more of a secondary role compared to the rest of our role. So I was basically just sort of any sort of job that needed to be done as far as help with the liaising with the police was a small part of it at the initial start of it. Also, just basically the background of the organising side of things, whether it was figuring out places for the freedom camping spots, things like that. Yeah, that was basically mine. It was kind of like a admin sort of role to it all, I guess. But I'd have to say only a part role to that admin role, as it was definitely shared amongst majority of us.
And then, so part through the Hīkoi, you left at one stage to go down to Wellington to grab your van, eh? So I think you were in Levin, eh? You left from Levin?
Palmerston North.
Oh, Palmerston North, yeah.
Palmerston North,
yeah.
Yeah.
So from that time, you sort of went around the crew because you had taken off to get your van back in Wellington.
Can you tell us what you thought of your journey from Wellington to Palmerston North? Like, what was your feeling with the whole journey, the whole Hīkoi?
So I guess starting off with Wellington, it was definitely I was fairly excited, like especially after that first leg in Wellington, doing that big walk with everybody and just sort of seeing what had sort of come to fruition as far as like the beautiful people that we had met, even within that first day, and like I guess walking so far with people till you kind of get to know people fairly well. Yeah, so. That would be the Wellington section. I myself was a little bit ill-prepared. Like I wasn't very prepared for a lot of it, so I got quite tired fairly quickly. I think a lot of it had to do with just not being as prepared as I wanted to be, as far as like getting good rest and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought the Wellington leg was pretty beautiful. Otaki was all right. There's a few little things that sort of stood out where I felt like there's a little bit too much contrast as far as being on a healing kaupapa and then also at the same time sort of racking things up in other aspects and things like that I found was a little bit problematic. But it was good. I think as we made our way to Levin and Army, I think the weather played a big part with the Palmerston North section of things, and that I guess it would have been Levin for me where I felt like the organisation had sort of taken a little bit of a turn.
And Haati Bei, we'll go to you. You sort of jumped in Wellington at the steps of Wellington, and then from there you jumped on a train to go to meet us at all our...
We jumped in Moana's car, we drove to Ngāti Toa, and we waited there 8 hours used to arrive.
And then what was it like for you when we arrived at Ngāti Toa domain?
I don't know, I was there to support Aperehama and the kaupapa.
Right.
I wasn't there, to make friends with them.
Okay, we'll go to you, Aperehama. So we'll go from how you felt when you're standing at the steps of Wellington.
Standing there on the steps of Wellington, so me and my whānau, we actually walked from Pukeahu. Pukeahu is the place that the prisoners of Parikihaka came and tilled the land. So we went there first before making our way to Parliament Steps, just to acknowledge where I come from and Pariaka, Taranaki there. So from there we walked to Wellington, to Parliament, to the front there. Now the place where we took off is actually a awa. Parliament, all that place where we were is an old awa. So underneath that is a river that flows. And there's actually pounamu there that guides you through that old river track. So that's one of the reasons why we chose that specific spot to leave. Because that acknowledges Ngāti Pōneke, Te Whititia Marae, Ngāti Ira, Ngaitara, and Nuaupoko people. These are the people who got chased out during the Hekinga, when Wellington was known as Port Nicholson. It's also where the name Pōneke comes from. So if we translate Pōneke into English, we get the night movement. That's when the people of Nuaupoko, Ngāti Ira, and Ngaitara got chased out of that very spot where we started, to Pito o Te One. That's what I felt when I got there. Ka oki atu oku maarati ngā rā o moaki o rātou kuia karaua e tapato ana I te tuapapa mō mātou nā mokopuna ki te tūkirunga. So my memories went back to the old people who laid the foundation for us mokopuna to stand upon in that very day and night. When we started off the kaupapa, I had to call in our organisers, all four of us, to come stand at the front. There was some of us trying to hide, But I had to call all four of us up to the front so the people who were gathered there know exactly who the four organisers of the kaupapa was. Because a lot of people at that time didn't realise that Coley and I were a part of the team. Even though we were doing live constantly to show the recognition and all of that. But on the very first moment there, when we stood together on Parliament Steps, introduced ourselves as the organisers, and then from there, did a bit of a taku, which is like a prayer. From that prayer, we started walking. And we actually followed the old river to make our way out of Parliament. So it was very beautiful, especially for my mātauranga there. I just found it tāhua rawa to follow the pūrākau of those who came before. But before we got to Pūriroa, right, all the conversations that we were having together, walking together, right, they were very special. So we have a whakatauki in te reo Māori. Taha te kai o te rangatira, he kōrero, he kōrero, he kōrero. So what is the food of the weavers of light and others? That is conversation. And so I noticed through these conversations that we were having, we were building rangatiratanga up between us. And that rangatiratanga translates to whakawhangangataga, which is a relationship between land, sea, air, and the human race.
Beautiful. That's mean. Love that.
And then from Pūrerua, we were in Otaki. Anything you want to add for Otaki and Levin?
Oh yeah, I liked Otaki.
Yeah.
And I liked Levin. Otaki was cool because I was able to jump on the guitar and have a jam. And when I was jamming, right, a few of the locals came through and joined us. Like we had our Elvis impersonator come join us. And then he already came out with his drums, his box drums. Oh, that was just gangster. It ended up being a party outside the library in Otaki. Like Coley, there was a few things in Otaki that didn't sit right with me. One was showing up to the bro's house and place of business. Yeah, that was probably the biggest one that stood out for me at that moment. So, after Otaki there, when we went over to Levin, absolutely loved it there in Levin, especially where our lip crew were staying. So lip crew translates to living life in the trenches. So that's who the lip crew whānau are. So when we were at our ACOM in Levin, we would always travel to where the lip crew whānau was. And we spent some time with the lip crew whānau there. We saw them doing whakawhangangatanga and jamming on the guitar. We knew from then on, I knew from then on that our lip crew whānau would hold down the kaupapa right from there because they had the right people staying with them who could follow kawa and tikanga and introduce us into all of that stuff.
Aye.
So,
Aye.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Haati Bei, can you jump in because you were the lit crew? Can you? Was that your first? Was that the first of it for the lit crew to do that?
At Kimberley Reserve?
Yeah. Aye. How many of yous were there doing that?
There was 12 of us.
Can you explain to our listeners and those watching what that part took of doing, what you's done there?
We all did our pepeha. We did it again at Ashes. Yeah, no, it was just getting to know each other and building those foundations of creating that whakapanaungatanga within ourselves. Yeah, we sat down, we had kai, we all shared everything. We went and took a bath in the river, and that was cool.
Yeah, and I think that's where really it was holding place there, wasn't it? Because other things that took place, that wasn't happening. And I think that's for me personally, that was the lack of organisation for whatever reason for that. And the lit crew were really holding that space, and yous were really identifying what this Hīkoi should be really about, what it's about there. Going to Palmerston North, and that's where Coley left, and Aperehama. What was what was going on there within the crew, the organisation crew there?
To be honest, we were all over the show when we were in Palmerston North. Like, we went to a certain radio station and we thought all of us was going to be on it, but there was only a few of us that went on it. So I realised from that moment on, because we're not showing a four-person front for the kaupapa, I actually felt that was when the organisers behind the scenes actually dissipated, was during that encounter.
That evening in Palmerston North, we all went to the Lions Academy with Dion Jensen. That was a beautiful evening there, and there was a fair few people that rocked up there to be part of that. Do you want to talk into that and talk about that with the Lions Academy with Dion?
The Lions Academy, right, is, how do I explain this? Is a safe space for us creators to come together, right, and use the tools to create finances or to create something of ourselves. So the Lions Academy, run by Dion Jensen, is a powerful academy, it's whānau, really good. Unfortunately, it's whānau, I don't actually know what happened at night there, because I got distracted by a street magician who was down on the ground floor. So, this is why we did off the college. So at the moment, I was a bit distracted, and I actually got pulled away from the kaupapa because of the street magician.
I'll be honest, okay, I'm going to backtrack a bit. A few times before that evening event was at the Lions Academy. It had changed locations 2 or 3 times, 4. And for me coming over from Australia, being there, being part of it, I was not told once what was going on, where we were meeting, and I had my uncle there with us who was driving us around to all the locations, and not one person in that organisation crew let us know where yous were going to be. We rocked up at one of the places where we thought it was, and there was no one there. We're like hanging around there for like 5 minutes, and no one turned up, and this is odd. It wasn't until someone checked the socials and then found out where yous actually were. And then we walked around the corner and we still didn't know where it was. It wasn't until I think someone was come downstairs and they're like, oh, here it is here. And then even then, unfortunately, Uncle Tom Hyde couldn't even get up. There was no wheelchair access up there. So I think that was, disappointing for that. But other than that, the night was great there.
Tika koe, Nick, you are absolutely true and correct. Unfortunately, those of us who are the organisers, we haven't had cons with you fellows to live through. And I mean that. We never had cons with you fellows. Yes, we did have a group chat set up, but none of us organisers was feeding you the correct information to meet up with us at the correct places. But that does fall on us as the organisers because, like I said, right, we didn't share the correct communications with you folks. And that played a big part from Palmerston North onwards.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I think so too with that. We saw a lot of people actually come and leave at that point because they didn't know where you fellas were, and they were like asking us where yous were. And so I think that was the thing that I picked up on, that like a lot of people, I don't know how far people travelled to come and see everybody, and they just remember people were just like, oh, we're going. Like, we don't know where they are. We don't even know. So it was just like we felt a bit sorry for them that they couldn't, make it. So.
And you are absolutely true and correct, because everyone came from all over the country. But because of the lack of organisation with scheduling and itinerary, unfortunately, the public people didn't know our locations at that time. It's not until later that we find out why our locations were always hidden. So, bye.
And then the following day, we met at the square in Palmerston North to leave there. We were told to be at Rātana by 2 p.m. for the pōwhiri. And then, so from that time, we had maybe 2 hours to get to Rātana from Palmerston North. No time wasting to get there in time. And then now we're at Rātana. The lit crew were all there. We were waiting at least 1:30. We were there. Yeah, the white van wasn't there yet.
Our thing was because we were with Uncle Tomahai and him being old school and him being how he is, he thought it wasn't appropriate. So we were rolling how he rolled. Yeah. And so he was just like, nah, we're not doing this. So we were like, yep, kapai, whatever you say, Uncle, that's what we're doing. So that's why we just sat there and we missed the pōwhiri.
So you're talking about that afternoon event, leaving from Palmerston North. We were actually supposed to meet the lit group in Ashurst. Now, Coley wasn't with us that day because he left that morning to go to work there to pick up the van. So on that day, right, we weren't actually supposed to go to Rātana. We were supposed to go to Hīkoi and Bei and Whanganui. Now, I have no clue why the plans changed all of a sudden. Coley wasn't with us. So the plans changed all of a sudden. So instead of meeting up with the lit group whānau at Ashurst, we all met at the civic square, at the square. And then we all were supposed to move together from the square to Rātana. But unfortunately, those of us in the white van showed up like 15 minutes too late after the pōwhiri was started. I'm going to say this in te reo Māori here, and I ain't going to translate it. So, sorry, whānau. Anyway, that. No te mea kāre tātou e tai ana ki te pōwhiri, e waiwai tapu te tātou katoa, ngā kaupapa haere o Iwi Whakamahu. Nā reira, no te mea kāre tātou e tai ana ki te pōwhiri, anā ka takahia atu I te mana o tō tātou nei tikanga mātauranga mai te ao rangatira. Yeah, unfortunately, because we missed the pōwhiri, right, those of us who know te ao Māori will understand what that means. Right.
Yeah, and I wasn't looking there. It was only Te Rewatiri and Treen, Orbs, myself and Moana that went on for pōwhiri out of the lit crew because Uncle Rick and them had already gone home. They'd already gone back to Tāmaki. We heard those trumpets play, we were off.
We were meant to have Tahu on here, but we had difficulties with the tech for him. So, yeah, it would have been good to get Tahu to speak on that because he was our host in Rātana. Beautiful manaakitanga from Tahu there. And Rātana, this has created the big famous banoffee pie. So I guess next year in Rātana, the banoffee pie is going to be a massive hit. If it wasn't already. Does anyone want to talk into that or we leave that?
Yeah, so when that banoffee pie incident was happening, I had asked Haati Bei to go up and buy me some cigarettes. So that's why she wasn't there for the event. She didn't show up until at the end. As we were making our way back from the parents' place, the banoffee pie place, back to Putney. So, that's who she was.
And if I can remember correctly too, the organisation side of it, so as far as I knew, we weren't actually going to partake in the pōwhiri part because there was some other kaupapa that had gone on. So as far as I knew, I didn't actually know that there was a pōwhiri that was happening. Due to it coinciding with the Pākai Tore planting, which ended up happening at a different time, right? There's something to that. So, yeah. So a big part of my reasoning to wanting to go to grab the van at that point was the understanding that we weren't actually going, that we were only sort of in Rātana to sort of check out the event and show everyone the kaupapa of the 25th itself. It wasn't until I think later on that I found out that there was a pōwhiri that we were going to attend because as far as our other members of the organisation side of things, they had mentioned that we weren't actually to partake in a official pōwhiri.
Yeah, I can talk more onto this too. So on that day we were right there last month, we weren't supposed to be there. We were supposed to be staying in Whanganui, not staying in Ratana. So that was the itinerary and the schedule that Coley and I knew about. Now on that day, there was a spot given to us of Iwi Whakamahu to join the pōwhiri. But earlier on, we had already planned to be in Whanganui, so we didn't want to backtrack for our Ratana because the next day, when the Kiwitanga and government officials come on, that was the day we actually were supposed to arrive in Ratana, or that day, not the day before. Now, before kaupapa started, Ratana had offered up that day. I think it was the 22nd or the 21st, about 23rd, but sorry, my dates are all muddled. So Ratana had given us a spot, and the time for the pōwhiri was at 2 p.m. Now, we as the organisers turned around and said that we can't make that because we got to go to Hīkoi to do an event at that time. Like Coley said, that we don't know what happened on that day. We don't know what happened within the organisers for the whole schedule, for the whole itinerary to be changed all of a sudden like that. But yes, they got changed all of a sudden. So me and Coley were like wondering, hey, what's going on? So we started saying things like, yeah, or go with the flow there.
It's on record now what actually went down in Ratana Pa in the shed prior to going up for the banoffee pie. It's on record. Several people have spoken about it on social media. It's no secret now, so I'll go into it just briefly, just for on the record for this podcast. For me, sitting in that shed and seeing several people in the organisation, especially from the organisation, smoking, instantly I felt disrespected in there for a hīkoi for healing. And they're going doing that. I was sitting there going, this is a waste of time. These people aren't for real. They're not legit. So that's how I felt. Because if you're going on a hīkoi for as serious as healing, to heal yourself, heal within your childhood, your inner childhood, you don't go do that stuff. You don't have any substance when you're doing a kaupapa like that.
That was happening in the shed. Now I was standing by the door with them. They're just watching everyone. And I felt for our South Islanders who came up, right? Because they actually got peer pressured into participating. Right? There was a lot of people there who got pressured into participating. Now, I want to thank you both, Nick, Taimana, Renee, Kapai, because I saw the pressure getting put onto you, that you had the mana, the moral to say calm. Kapai. That's one of the reasons why I was saying Carl when they were handing it around, because I was just watching the people. And I noticed that our lip crew, whānau, you fellows included, they were absolutely disgusted that us organisers actually allowed that to happen. So, yeah, rodeo mo tēnā there. About all of that.
Like me personally, I don't judge people or anything like that for doing it. Yeah, for a hīkoi like that and organisations doing that, But I'll leave it there. That's enough said on that. Move on, because we wanted this to be good and positive, but we do need to brush over certain things that did happen. And then, from there, everything just went downhill, really, for a lot of things further on from even when we left, because that was our last time.
I need to clarify that next, but only thing that went wrong, we're us in the white bag. The whole kaupapa itself was so beautiful, right? The public came out, sat together, ate together, had conversations together, built relationships with each other. So the kaupapa itself was beautiful, regardless of the organisers falling apart. So it was only us organisers who were falling apart. No one who participated in the kaupapa of Iwi Whakamahu Heal the Nation actually fell apart. Instead, they built relationships between each other. It was so beautiful to see that people being the home in the middle of whakapapa and rippling the equation from the inside out, even when the organisers weren't organised. So, they are good that you can't go so
Kia pai. Coley, did you want to talk the reasons why you left the kaupapa at that stage?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to go into that, and I'll sort of brush over something that I haven't really brought up. So, whilst the rōpū was in Ratana, I was messaged by multiple people from Ratana, just being from Wanganui, and a lot of my friends, whānau, were there at the event. There were a few little things there were a few messages that I was given just about the way that the rōpū was sort of operating, as far as from the people that had messaged me, that they were sort of felt as if everyone was a little bit too cocky as far as just particular behaviours, particular things that had happened throughout that time, which actually made me not want to come to Ratana, because I think we had brief conversations as far as if we are to attend there, to sort of understand that it is the kaupapa first. This is a Ratana event. This has nothing to do with our kaupapa, and that we are manuhiri, so we are to sort of adhere to some sort of a decent level of humility as such. So there's a few things that happened that made me want to steer clear from being at Ratana with our rōpū. One of them was the clothing, or everybody wearing the Iwi Whakamahu gears. So I felt like it was a bit of a cocky move as far as us. We should only be there as merely as visitors, and there were a few other things that sort of stood out to me too, which made me sort of hum and ha, because I was planning on staying in Ratana with the rōpū, but then that incident had sort of happened. But I'd sort of changed my mind, and I was gonna, and due to the organisation itself, I was under the presumption that we were going to Ngāmotu the next day. I can't remember exactly why, but in my head, the night that the banoffee pie thing happened, that we were to meet in New Plymouth, so I was going to meet the rōpū in New Plymouth and just skip the Ratana night itself. Yeah, when that event sort of happened, that was the hearing about the event was sort of the catalyst for me, just as far as not wanting to continue on with it. And there were other little things, just small things that I did that play very minor roles in me wanting to also sort of upset me as far as what was going on. And then when that Ratana incident happened, I just sort of had to jump off. A big reason being was the video clip itself. The video clip had a very prominent politician in Aotearoa posted within that post about the firearm incident, and it was sort of insinuating that that person may have something to do with it. And so my mother works for that person, and she's a person that I have respect for, and that played a big part of why I sort of wanted to jump off, because I didn't want to be part of a collective that was not only making up lies about an incident, but also insinuating that a person was behind it, in which they sort of were within the video.
That being your mother, did you have to explain to your mother about certain things? What was that like?
Well, my mum's pretty good with me, because there's been there was particular things leading up to that. Like, we had sort of called out this politician in regards to things that were pono. So, the talks that we were sort of speaking about were much earlier than the haringa had even been organised. Sending a few straight shots at her, which we were allowed to, and so for me, I was always willing to wear the slack as far as being told off from the old lady, as long as we were being honest and righteous about what we were saying with good intention. But up until that, when that incident happened, I just felt like it was unfair. But my old lady sort of understands. She understands that I'm sort of on my own mission, and like she did understand my intention for being on the kaupapa. She was more upset at the collective that sort of had created this scenario more than me myself, but we did have a talk, and I had already decided, once I found out about the incident, I had already decided to jump off. So by the time that she had seen the video and we had talked, I'd already told her that's enough for me, I'm jumping off. And then I had went and gone and told the rest of the group.
The following day after that video was out on social media, we end up going back to Ratana Pa, back to Tahu's whare in their shed there. Well, we were just walking past, up. Renz and myself were walking up to the pa there and past Tahu's whare, and then I think that's where we saw you, Haati Bei, and I think you were Tahu, and you're like, yeah, there's the podcasters. And then, you invite us back into the whare. Then we just chilled out there for the whole day. It's such a beautiful day. Manaakitanga that Tahu has, and the love and aroha that he shows is beautiful. and sitting around with the lit crew all day there and just chilling and just sharing stories. And we were doing a few interviews there while we had that time there with you about the meaning of healing. And we'll do this with you now, Haati Bei, because we were going through the footage to put it up on our social media of you. But for some reason, it's not there. We must have deleted it. So accidentally.
I knew you'd be happy about that.
So while we've got you here and now, I'm going to ask you the question, what does healing mean for you?
Oh, I don't know, because I'm healed. Come on. Ownership of your shit, man. It's taking responsibility, you know, until you can do that. I've done a lot of shit in my past. I do it all over again. It makes you, you know, and if you hold on to it, then are you really healing? For me, I just think, just go live your life. You know, Tahu says it best, get your life. Get it however the fuck you want to get it. Get it fucked up, get it good, but get it. And own it.
Kaupapa. And that day there, like, I don't know, it was the way we connected in that shed that day. And that really brought us, and from that, we are so tight now. And even when we got back to Aussie here and, you know, we were still following the journey of the Hīkoi, and especially with the lit crew, you know, watching what yous were doing every day was beautiful. Everything that yous were doing, the places yous went, that was real healing. Did you want to talk?
Because, so that day in that shed, it was almost like a healing for us. Because we just felt some type of way after we saw that video, just like what Coley was saying. You're watching this and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And so it was that kind of, you're disgusted, you're upset, you're annoyed, you're pissed off, like, so all of these emotions. And then we just went back there that day and it would just made everything worthwhile. And looking back at everything now, it's like, what a great experience regardless. And I mean, you could say there's things you'd change, but I don't think you would, because it's just made us who we are. I think when you guys talk about your organisation, how it started kind of falling apart for UTU, Coley and Aperehama, like you're saying, just plans changing, different places, different things. So it's only the inevitable that you start showing cracks and things start falling apart. So you can't really take full responsibility, because it was a joint thing that not everybody was gelling and there for everybody else. So I just want to say that, like, big ups to you boys for, like, taking it on and saying, you know, we should have been doing this, we should have done that, you know, we could have handled things better. So proud of you guys for talking up and saying that sort of stuff, but it was a collective. So don't forget that. And it's just when you're with people who aren't true or being truthful, how are you supposed to be organised? Yeah, it's hard to. So, how are you supposed to look out for each other when they're not even looking out for you?
And I also want to add, like, say for myself too, I was very much naive to sort of what we were doing too. Like, so, like, and that's not for me to obviously take all the responsibility, but I do have to emphasise that I was definitely an amateur as far as all of this stuff, you know, like I'd never been part of any sort of kaupapa or organisation sort of things at all, and so it was very much naive of me to jump into something and not understanding the level of preparedness and organisation that truly needs to happen in order to even just keep the organisation side of things going. Not just the wider of the hiding and all those other important aspects, but just the organisation side of things. And like, I also want to apologise to you guys too, because I was always under the assumption, as far as the communications were, like even the Palmerston North event, as far as the communication, I just assumed that there must have been a line of communication between you and the organisers that had sort of invited you over. And it was a silly assumption of mine, but I guess there's so much going on, and you just get caught up. You just sort of fall short. I guess that's the only way to explain it.
I think you're Coley, because I'm the same too. I had the assumption that our other organisers were holding down comms between our local crew, whānau, and us, the organisers as well. So I'm with you too on that, brother. That I had the same assumption, right? Because that allows you and I to continue on working on the wireless side of the people without worrying about the comms side of things. So I'm with you on that.
All my footage I've got, Coley, you are just like on your own.
Yeah, it's just me as a person, like, that's just me as a person too, like, and like, that's what I mean, how I was definitely ill-prepared as far as even my own responsibilities, and like, I think Aperehama sort of has a fair idea too, because I was very much introverted in times when I couldn't afford to be introverted, you know, like we're on kaupapa, and I think a lot of that had to do with too is, say, the stuff that no one really knew about, you know, as far as finance back things, all of these little things that sort of made me, there was this guilt that I held the whole time. So like a lot of people may think throughout the event that I was very much standoffish or something, but it wasn't that I was standoffish, it was more that I just had this ugly, heavy guilt on me the whole time. And it was even prior. Yeah. And I had this very much heavy guilt on me, and I think it was just that I couldn't really be how I am now. I couldn't even really be like this at that time, because it just weighed heavy on me as far as my conscience.
And is that the hiring of the vans you're talking about? Yeah.
And where the funds come from.
Where the funds come from the vans, yeah. And you've just explained how you felt about that. Did you know prior to that, Aperehama, who the organisation was that funded the van?
Yes. Unfortunately, when the hui took place between Hobson's Pledge and us, the organisers, unfortunately, Coley and I wasn't a part of that hui. That was actually the moment I realised that not all the organisers are going to be involved in every single decision. Yeah, I had to benefit during that time, and I'm like Coley too. I felt really, really fucking guilty that I was handing over my tauiranga to something that's been funded by Hobson. Yeah.
And like, I think a big part to do with that too is, like, say, because this funding only came through maybe a couple of days before the kaupapa really kick-started, so we were so like, and I can't even speak for myself, but I felt like I'd done too much, and we were so close to the kaupapa starting that I didn't want to jump off, and like, I guess a lot of it comes, you know, and like looking back at it in hindsight, because, you know, everything's easier in hindsight to say, I should have called it then, I should have did this, I should have did that, but reality has it that I stayed, and a big reasoning to me wanting to stay is because I felt like I understood the true intent and the purpose of this kaupapa, and the beautiful intention that we did have behind it, but it was just that I guess I just felt conflicted though, due to knowing that there was just too much contrast there, as far as like something good that was going on, and then there was something real sinister and bad, you know, in multiple different ways, and that was definitely one of them.
I think too, you probably felt like you were too deep in to back out at that stage.
Yeah,
and also with that, it's when there's a kaupapa like that, you've been blinded by the shady stuff, because you're putting in the forefront the actual kaupapa over the things that are shaded coming in. So you put that to the back and go, I'm on here for a different purpose. Then you start to neglect those things that aren't right, of the reason for it.
The red flags.
Yeah, the red flags. What it is, you know, like certain things are out of your control, even from everything from the start to the finish. You've had certain aspects where you've had control of certain things, but then as the Hīkoi went on, it seemed to be that you lost more control, Aperehama especially, being there right to the end. How did you feel leaving Rātana and where you went from there, and then even with you, Haati Bei, where you went to from there, because you were separated from the organisers from that point? Do you want to explain, Aperehama, where you went? Because you wanted to go somewhere they wouldn't take you there. Can you talk about that? And then we'll go to you, Haati Bei.
So if you go onto the website, Iwi Whakamahu, and show that live the website, you will see the itinerary there that we had planned out for Iwi Whakamahu. There has all the stops, the days, and the date. If you have a look at it, their itinerary, you will see that after Rātana, we were supposed to go to Parihaka. From Parihaka, go towards Ngā New Plymouth. Now, there are two ways to get to Ngā from Rātana. You can take the 45 highway, or you could take the Inglewood turn-off and go that way to Ngā If you take the Inglewood turn-off, you don't go past Parihaka. If you take the 45 highway, you go past. When we left Rātana and Whanganui that night, I begged that season with these guys to take the 45 so we can just shoot as we drive past Parihaka. They didn't do that. Instead, we took the Inglewood turn-off. When we arrived at the Ngā Beach, where we stayed that night, I also asked them if they could take me back to Parihaka the next day because we had a whole free day. They turned around and said no. If I wanted to go to Parihaka, I'd get one of my family members to come pick me up and take my ass to Parihaka. So that's what happened on that moment. And then later on that morning, that's when Coley came to us and met us and took us to upstate to rest there just to recover. Aye, that's what happened after my dad.
Coley should say something on them arriving at Ngāmotu.
Over to you, Coley.
Yeah, actually, how do I start this? Because there's so much that straight up. There's so much that there's so many layers before even entering this. I've got to explain the thought patterns heading up towards it, and I think a large part of it had to do with the bounty, So there was this understanding of the bounty that I still believed at this point. So when I'd heard about the incident happening in Ratana, because I hadn't met the team in Ratana, and I was still under the understanding that there was this bounty out. When I realised of the incident, I woke up that morning and I thought that the team are gonna, because I'd missed calls, I turned my phone off. And I woke up to a lot of missed calls, and then I saw the video. So I straight away had a hunch in my head if they would have felt like I had set this thing up, due to myself still believing this bounty. So when I had pulled up to Ngāmotu, I was actually, because I had a quick call prior to meeting them, and the energy was off, and I felt like they were just very standoffish within the call that I had. So when I was meeting them, I was actually worried if they had thought that I might have set them up as far as the incident, because I still believed that something at Ratana had happened. I hadn't done my own investigating with the people that I knew that were at Ratana, or anyone that could give me even the Ropa itself, to give me a fair idea of what happened, to sort of discern the narrative that was given. So when I got to the Ropu that were parked up, I was actually I was thinking that they were maybe wanting to fight, because in my head I was thinking that they would have thought I had set them up. Reason being is because I've got a close relationship with, my mother has a close relationship with the people who they were insinuating that did the attack. So when I pulled up, I was actually getting ready to have a fight or something, because I thought that they may have thought that I had set them up. And like, this is what I mean, how there's so many levels of lies that had happened, and for these silly situations to even begin with. Yeah, so when I pulled up, I thought that there may be a confrontation as such. And so I had explained to my younger brother, and my younger brother had said, do you want me to come with you just in case, because I was aware that there was the whole white van and then another carload that I'd have to base Kānui to Kānui, But, and which I was happy to do, at the end of the day, these are just things that you have to do. So when I pulled up, I'd actually left the car running, because I was thinking that if it does get too hectic, I'll just have to run them all over. like, and this is in my head. Well, I'm thinking, at the end of the day, I know I haven't done anything wrong. I know I haven't done anything wrong, and I thought, and so I'd even weighed up in my head, just sort of panning it out in my head, because these are things that you do before you turn up to a possible altercation. So in my head, I'm running through, okay, I'm going to have to get through Hemi. I wasn't worried about the rest. I was saying I can deal with the rest, but I know the Hemi was a bit of a jailbird, So I thought, how am I going to get him out the picture first? So it was just all these stupid thoughts, and it was all based off a lie that I had fallen for. It was just madness. Just to give a fair idea of the initial meeting at the beach. And then when I did meet everyone, the mood was totally different from particular people who I thought may have thought that, and that they had sort of said, no, we were worried about you. We thought that you might have gone to Rata and they might have ended up getting you, they might have got you instead. What we call them, the Banoffee Pie assassin. That I might have fell victim to the assassin, and that was the reason why I hadn't contacted them, that I had got back to them as far as keeping communications with them. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hi, I want to jump on that. I was one of those people who were really, really worried because of all the lies that they had been told beforehand. And I fully thought that something bad had happened to Colt, because he wasn't answering up to me. I actually fully believe that something really, really bad happened to our brother Coley. So that's where my mindset was at that time to us.
Far out. A lot going on, isn't there, behind the scenes?
There's a lot of lies, a lot of layers to the onion of lies.
Yeah.
Well, and there's another thing too, like, on the social media, you see certain things out and you see all the comments being put out, and And I'll be straight up with this. People don't believe what you hear and see on social media to what really happens. You know, you either taking one side of something or what someone's saying. It's a totally different story, realistically, what goes out. What's actually said to what's actually real. Yeah, Haati Bei.
So we all went to Papai Kore when that Ratana incident happened. A comment was made there that somebody was a snake. I already knew what he was talking about. I made it known that I knew he thought it was me. I did a big burnout out of there and went straight back to Ratana. And I was welcomed by TK. Those 3 nights were the best. We went to every event they had down at the pa. We got free banoffee pie and pudding. Well looked after. Moana and I went on our own hiding. Can I bring it back to saying Aperehama again? Because I didn't see him until they went to Tauranga. And those 4 days were hard.
Yeah, speak on that, sis.
What was going on with him? I wasn't allowed to communicate with him. He actually messaged me, told me to fuck off home. Those words, I turned around and said, nah, and hung up.
Like that there. But this is what I actually told Haati Bei after the incident. Because us organisers, when we were in Line 2, they weren't saying nothing about my cousin. I run my cousin threatening there because I was scared for her life. So I told her, fuck off home now. Don't fucking follow us, fuck off home now. Go buy my fucking kids, go buy my fucking mokopuna and look after my kids and my fucking mokopuna. And that's exactly how I said it because people were listening to me at that time when I was talking to her. So the organisers heard me tell her to fuck off and we didn't meet back up with her until Tauranga. I was like, there at Tauranga, funny enough, all those organisers that hated on her, gave her a hug and a kiss and welcomed her back into the event.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
It wasn't two-way street.
And like, I think a big part of that I do want to add to is there was a particular organiser that, so throughout these moments happening, I was sort of, especially once I had sort of a little bit of discernment had finally arrived at my doorstep. So I was sort of watching a particular organiser that played a big part in, they played the most significant, they played the catalyst role within all of this layer of the onion of lie. And I was sort of watching him as these sort of moments happened, and I could tell that because the rest of the organisation had sort of was under the spell, you know, and I was sort of watching the spellcaster and I could see within his face that there was a lot weighing on him because I don't think he realised the trajectory of the lies that were being put out, you know, and I could just see certain moments that I could catch him sort of, a lot of it was weighing very heavy on him, you know, there was a lot of gazing at the wall and just sort of heavy thinking going on his end, you know, which would happen when you're known to, you know, grow these sort of onions of lies.
Yeah, so we get to Tauranga. I haven't seen him for about 4 days. I messaged him actually and I said, look, I'm here. I'm in Tauranga. So this is to go against Hei's lies of them having to buy him cigarettes and give him money because he was really mean, asking me for cigarettes and money. And I showed up to Tauranga and I had smoked some money for him. He got my cousin. They were buying him nothing.
I want to jump onto that too because yeah, that's absolutely true and correct. Haati Bei, man, she was the only one who gave me $50 here, there, everywhere. She was the only one buying me smoke. Like I said, at that Monopoly fight incident, where was she? Going to go buy me smoke. But she was looking after me, even though she wasn't with our children and our mokopuna. She was always looking after me because I didn't have the means to disappear from the organisers to buy my own smoke. And it was actually hard to stop at shops because I would only stop at shops for their own takings. They'd never stop to get me anything or anything like that. So, alright, thank you, cousin Nick, for doing all of that. I don't think I'd be able to get through any of this kaupapa had you not shown me love in that way. And you know me to kaupapa. But that's not the only thing you did, Nick. You taught everyone in the lip crew to be the O in the middle of whakawhangautanga, ne? Hoi anake, ne? Ua wā, te mahi ati tēnā. Nā reira, nei aku mii ki a koe e taku whangaunga o te tai rāpiti, ne? Hoi anake, te whakamau ana, te tuapapa o aku nei maha tauranga. So thank you, cousin. Just to clarify, I was just giving thanks to the cousin for holding down my audio, my maha tauranga, and using that to teach our lip crew and the rest of the people around. Like, I found it really, I was really proud of my cousin that she took off her Ngāti Pro foresight and she put on the 3 feathers of Aperehama. Because if it takes the 3 feathers, the raukura of Aperehama, not to punch people in the face. who hurts you, who dogs on you, who does all of that. And that's really tough for someone Haati to be taurangi Māori. So, they got to be e tapu hongaina.
Yes.
Paul's cousin, got you. They were even shocked that I had come up to Tauranga. They didn't expect me to be there. I said it to, I think it was to Sky, I'm not going anywhere. Followed them from there. Went to Hamilton. Me and Tahu went to Hamilton.
Yes.
Yes.
That was a great
Yeah,
stop.
so Tahu he was already in Auckland, and I rang him and he was like, where are you? I said, I'm Tauranga. And he was like, I'm going to Hamilton. I said, come to Tauranga first. And then we came out to Hamilton, where he had his
Yeah. And that was the first time from that incident where they were being called out from the Banoffee Pie incident. So that was the first of it, to be out on social media, then being called out on that.
Haati, talk to us about why you felt as though you needed to be close to Aperehama, even though everything was against you.
It was in Levin when some people showed up in a car looking for somebody. I knew these people. I actually told them to leave. And it was from then on I knew there's going to be danger around them.
Those people that pulled up, you told to leave, were they there to cause harm?
Yeah, on one particular person. It was a children's park, and I knew who they were. They're on my coastline. We know everybody. I was able to ask them to leave. But then that was my thought then and there that my cousin's not safe with this person. I'm having to protect them. Oh, so then after Hamilton.
After Hamilton. Because obviously that conversation we really loved. We really wanted Tahu to speak on that. Going to try and get him to talk on that and chuck it into this. So, but you're welcome to speak on it if you want to, because I also saw a comment. It is funny. Aperehama said about him watching it all go down from a distance when you were in Hamilton. And so you were there, obviously.
Oh, yeah. So Tahu actually had taken off ahead of me. It wasn't me that filmed it. It was just sent to me to deliver it. I actually got there. Tahu was already doing his thing. And we were being scolded by a drunk security guard.
A different security guard from Hemi, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it wasn't him. Hemi's the cousin.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't him. This one was a Pacific Islander, very aggressive towards us wahine. So, and then Tahu had come over, obviously, after it had all gone down, and he felt better. And that's all I needed was for him to feel better, because that was weighing on him. So that he could go and spend time with his people.
Yeah, glad. I'm happy he got to do that.
But then it went back to, so how they were with me in Tauranga, it sort of went back to being that, we don't want to know you again. And then we go to Auckland. I loved it in Auckland because Uncle Rick and Sister Joycey, they were there to collect Aperehama, because I knew he was safe. He was going to get looked after, he was going to get rested. Going to be no stress. Mm-hmm. It was the first time we actually got to spend time together on that whole haringa, actually.
Yep. It's the only time, not the only time, but the first time on the whole journey from Wellington right through, was Auckland. Auckland was the only time that me and cousin Haati Bei were able to be ourselves. And the beautiful thing about that is Papa Rick and Joycey took me to the lip group. Now that's the first time I was able to sit down with the lip group since the Rātana. So from the Rātana incident to Auckland, I never had private conversations with the lip group until Auckland. I got to spend a couple of hours with our lip group and hear their side of the pūrākau, what happened to them, what they went through, what they were feeling, how did it make them feel, all their anger issues. There was actually a lot of rehabilitation happening on that night in Auckland. Like when it came to me and Haati, that's when my siblings seen that me and her are actually like siblings. That anaka uri atu tāua nei reo ki tēnei reo rangatira. No te mea ko tēnei tō tātou nei tau, ne? Mena ka pōre ko tāua I roto I tēnei reo anga he mahi tau tēnā mō taiwa. Speaking in this language is just really natural. And it brings a sense of peace for us. When I told her before in Rātana to fuck off in English, she got a hold of my wife and my wife told her, right? Said to her, when does he ever speak to you in English? Because I don't. I don't. So that was a big clue for the cousin to realise, okay, he does want me here. He just can't say it. It was very beautiful when we got to Auckland there and I got to sit with the lip group. Very, very beautiful, yeah. And I got to finally catch up with the brother Coley too, yeah, because I got to do a shout out to Coley because he was on one of the panels that I seen too. So I was like, yeah, cool.
Can I go shout out to Hīkoi for hooking us up with our accommodation in Ōrākei? Man, she was awesome.
Coley, how are you feeling going, like watching this still unfold? By the time they got to Auckland, were you just kind of still trying to get yourself right, get good with the whānau and the rātana after everything? Where was your headspace?
Yeah, so I think post Banoffee, so I think that's when I probably reached out to Tahu and Haati and actually had a proper cordial. So there was one part of me that I think up until that conversation I was feeling really, really yuck. I was just feeling, I just sort of didn't know how to feel, because I there was that feeling of me being gutted because this is something that we had planned for so long, and I was sort of upset with myself for jumping off, but I also knew that it's something I had to do, so I was very much like conflicted, and I felt strange, and like for me too, I hadn't really explained much to my wahine or my household, because it was I come home and everything's still beautiful, happy and normal. So I didn't really want to rub it off on anyone at all, and to a point, and I just kind of sat with it myself. So like I told my wahine about it, but I didn't really want to talk too much into it. I think she realised that I was very much so upset. Maybe a day and a half until Haati and Tahu sort of reaching out to me. But yeah, it was just a feeling of more being upset with myself, not wanting to continue on with it, but then also the understanding that it's just something that I have to do. I have to do that for just to have some sort of
your own morals type thing, eh?
Yeah, just my own sort of these things that I felt very much conflicted about, and especially for my mother too. Because, my mother works for that lady. But I was lucky enough to be able to keep following the kaupapa too, and there was a lot of things that I did like during the mornings I'd catch Aperehama, jump up on TikTok, and it was the only moments where I was just happy to see that Aperehama was still being Aperehama.
Yeah, Coley, you did reach out to us too. You messaged us to let us know that you've jumped off the kaupapa, and you also apologised to us for what went down, which something that you weren't even a part of or had no control of. Just shows the type of beautiful person you are to reach out to us and let us know that you've jumped off the kaupapa.
I think it's a big part of that is it's a response. It's like an obligatory responsibility as someone that was still part of it, regardless of me not creating that incident. I was still part of the team, so I thought, and like I felt like there was a whole bunch of loose ends, and that would have been the biggest part of the yuck feeling that I had. There's so many loose ends, so many people who I'd only briefly talked to and stuff like that, and then it just sort of came to a crashing halt. So I felt sort of obliged to reach out to particular people, and I think you guys were the first lot. There are a couple other people, like I'd reached out to my uncle Mark Tulia, who helped do the planting in Hākoi, and the reason being is because the uncle was very much supportive. He also drove down from Whanganui that day just to be at the Parliament steps with us, just to see us off, and he's a really close family member of mine. So I sort of had apologised to him and explained to him why I jumped off, and like he sort of understood too. I can't remember exactly who I reached out to. I think I reached out to as many people that I had added on Facebook or had some sort of contact with. I tried to reach out to.
We appreciate that.
That cracks me up, Coley, because I did the same thing. Yeah, I was trying to reach out to you fellas or burning bridges as well, but unfortunately my phone was getting looked at, so I had to change all the name and contact with my phone numbers to reach out to certain people. Like Tahu, I had his name underneath Tahu Kino, which is something totally different than his actual name, but I had all these little codes, like Haati Bei, I had her underneath Wāhanga Tira or some type of name like that. So I reached out to these people after that event as well, just to apologise. The person I never reached out to their mother was Uncle Mark Tudia, because I don't have any of his contacts. So it warms my heart, brother, that you actually got a hold of all that. So I'm so thankful because, I don't know what happened between the organisers and Uncle Mark Tudia after that. And they are for me, Coley, they are for me.
Well, Coley hadn't even met Tahu, and and I thought he had to Tahu. So it was like,
I still haven't met Tahu in person.
True. How do you feel, Aperehama, that's quite disappointing that your phone's getting looked at the insecurity of it. And for some, a kaupapa, that's about healing. That's contradicting everything about healing.
Fortunately, fear entered into the organizations after. Now, if you understand fear, these people were really, really scared. Papa, you have to take that into account, the fear that these people felt. Because that $10 million bounty was real. Papa, we may all go, you know, fuck, it's all bullshit. No one in Otago has got $10 million to pay for this. Give me $100 and I'll do it. But even me and Coley joked, hey, fuck, if we knew the person who was paying that there, we would have done it. You know what $10 million would have done for our whānau? But anyway, on that note, right, the fear was real. And so because the fear was real, unfortunately, my relationship with Haati Bei is the catalyst that pulled me to the outskirts of the group. Right, because I was seen as the avenue giving away locations and all of that. But whenever they check my phone, they can see I'm only talking to my wife. So yeah, I know the locations are getting leaked that way, but that's what happened there in the background part.
How you say the fear was real, it can be paranoia, psychosis.
So yeah, it is paranoia. So because the fear was so real, if you have a look at that itinerary that we published before kaupapa started, you can see that there's a lot of stops along the way. After Rakana, because the fear took over, they took off all the little towns. Now, we only had one event per day, and that event lasted from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Every day on social media, us organisers would post a video on that day to let the public know where the event was being held on that day and what location on that day. So everything was happening on those days, and that's the reason why communication fell apart very early on. It's because the fear was real and we didn't know who to trust. That's what it falls down to. We didn't know who to trust. And because there were only 4 organisers in the whole kaupapa, we had no other organisers around us to reach out to bring people on board to help us out, to put in safety plans and all of that thing. Coley knows at the very beginning, I was always pushing for safety plans, because of the fact that I know when it comes to public safety, we need to put in plans in place to protect the public. That was the fear that was felt within that white bag. And that lasted the whole way, and I mean that right up until I left. The fear was there constant, and the fear took over the kaupapa. That's why the people who came to the kaupapa were participating in the kaupapa, but the organisers were kind of distant and falling apart from the kaupapa of what it was supposed to be. I hope that makes sense.
I sort of want to just quickly go into the understanding of the fear part, because just to give you a understanding as far as from what I had saw, even when we were here in Ngāmotu, so like our beautiful brother Laurie, some may have met Laurie as Fitz. So during the stay here in Ngāmotu, when the first night that they got here, Laurie actually stayed up all hours of the night. So I think he'd only just got to bed early hours of the morning. So the day that the event was happening, those early hours of the morning, he had only just got to sleep. And reason being is because, you know, the fear was so prominent that Laurie didn't feel right not being awake just in case an attack happened. And and I just want to emphasize on how much of a beautiful man Laurie is too for doing this, because, you know, he while he was in fear, wanting to protect, you know, because the big role with Laurie was to protect one of our coordinators. That was his big role from the start, and he truly did that the whole time, and he's a really beautiful man for that. And I just want to sort of talk into as far as while Laurie was awake, keeping guard, keeping eyes as far to protect a particular organizer. The organizer himself was sleeping the whole time. And that's why I want to go into as far as the lies, you know, because if you felt like you were endangered, you wouldn't be sleeping on the job while another man does these things, you know. But yeah, I just really want to give a shout out to our brother Laurie for his beautiful ngākau. He has a beautiful heart, that fella.
He was always the one that would say, you know, I'll come out and see you, look whānau, I'll come out and have a cup of tea with you. No, his ngākau all the way through was awesome.
Here too, talk about Laurie doing this thing as well. Hīkoi of Iwi and Haati Bei was fake, right? Very, very. That man's role was to get one of the organisers to return him back to the lands where he comes from, not in a book, but as a living person, to walk in on their whenua as a living person. And Roriti Apiata was his name, he absolutely pulled that off. He stayed up all night there, watching the driveways, watching, moving the vehicles out of eyesight and all of the stuff. So, yeah. Shout out to Laurie Neck, they got to me, got to the Martin, they
Yeah, I'd like to add on to that with Fats and Mel and Ray as well. Beautiful people. Laurie was always looking out for us as well, and Uncle Tomahai, he would always go grab a kai and take it out to Uncle Tomahai and making sure he's all goods. Thank you, Laurie, for your aroha. Manaki for our uncle, looking after him as well. And Mel too. Beautiful woman she is as well.
Okay. Even from Auckland to Whangarei, it was funny because the whole time I've been separated from Aperehama, that trip to Whangarei, I stayed right behind that van all the way, and we didn't know about that post done about kaupapa. I didn't know that had even come out. I was driving, so I hadn't seen nothing. And then the incident at the petrol station happened where Aperehama was attacked. I filmed that. I was told to delete it. We get to tour, and I still don't know about this post that this person has made about him. But I had already sent that footage of the petrol station to him. And then that whole live happens there. Because when that had happened, I actually wanted to attack the person that was attacking him. I was weaponed up, ready to attack. And they knew that because they let him go. We get to the door, and after that all that they had with him, I walk up to my cousin and said, I see you at Waitangi. I'm out. I can't stay here. I'm going to attack him. So I left, and I waited for him at Waitangi.
Aperehama, did you want to talk about that incident at the petrol station, how you felt being attacked?
When we got to Wellford, that's when the organisers had told me that there was a video out on my road tour, 1400, a pedo father. And I was like, oh, okay. When we had left Wellford, we were in separate vehicles. While I was in the white van there, I had watched the video and I was like listening to it, and I was like, oh, this is all bullshit. So I had messaged the organiser stating that, who's your sources for tour? Because your sources are unreliable. How can we fact check your sources so you're not putting out bullshit content that damages someone's reputation? The only reply I got back to was, whose side are you on? And I was like, hey, the fuck? What do you mean, whose side am I on? We got to this gas station, I don't know where this gas station is, which is 5 minutes before Whangarei, and that's when he pulled me up. In my head, because it's only my whakaro here, te whānau, in my head, I was thinking to myself that the bro was so scared of this fella tour that he's trying to make up things to make sure tour doesn't show up for a kanohi confrontation. So that's what I was thinking in my head at that time. After that,
that's why I'm here.
As soon as he noticed the cameras was out, that's when he stopped. When other people's cameras came out, that's when he stopped. He didn't want to have accountability or show transparency. I had one of the other organisers yell at me to go tell everyone to delete their shit through the recycle bin and all of that, and I was like, yeah, go on in. Yeah, go do it. But one organiser will go out and tell the people to delete their shit. Yeah, it was very unfair. And because I spoke to Haati Bei in English, Nancy doesn't listen. And I was so happy because she knew from that moment onwards, whenever I talk in English, right, I'm not being serious. But yeah. So that's what happened there. And when we got to Whangarei, I felt sorry for Thor. Me and Thor have been bros for many years, and that was the first time we seen each other kanohi ki te kanohi. Now, I said to him before the event I wanted a big long hug, but unfortunately, because 5 minutes before seeing him, that happened, I was actually standoffish, and he could feel that. He could also feel all the ugliness that was around us when he approached us, and he could see that the other organisers were hating on me. because of that interaction. Aye, that's what happened, and then the whangarei gave my cousin Haati Bei a big hug and said, "Cool, see you in Waitangi."
There was a post put out by one of the organisers later when physical altercation happened at a park, and in that post was said that there has never been any physical altercations prior to that. Now there comes another lie when the actual organiser has physically attacked you, where it didn't get too bad because there were people witnessing it with their iPhones out, recording it. So, which is...
Aye, tika, and I like what Coley said, the onion layer of life. The onion layer of life. Okay? And that's exactly what it was, the onion layer of life. Te au nei, because I'm all about te reo rangatira e te ao Māori. Te au nei, I'll say it like this, mena ka mōhio koe ki te rukahu, ka mōhio koe ki te tāhai. Mena ka mōhio koe ki te tāhai, ka mōhio koe ki te raupa. So in English that means if you know how to lie, you will learn how to steal. If you learn how to lie and steal, you'll learn how to pillage the nation. That's not actually the correct thing. The correct thing is great. Aopuia said that, and that's all I saw throughout this whole haringa, was the lies being told from the very beginning.
Aperehama, I wanted to ask you a question before, and now I've got the opportunity to ask you this question, because the original plan was for your whānau, your wife and your kids, to join the Hīkoi with you. And because of funding, financial reasons, you weren't able to bring them along. Are you grateful that they didn't come along with all this playing out?
Oh, yes. Had my wife been there, these organisers that fucked up would never have been a part of it. And I mean that from day one, right? From day one. Had I had my wife there, no one would have been able to challenge my voice, because I would have been complete. But that was actually pretty guttering. But it wasn't until I left Parliament death when my wife told me, right? She said something very beautiful to me. She goes, doesn't matter what happened on this kaupapa, babe, you've got this. You've got the foundations to pull everything off, even if you are alone. Right? And so I was like, thanks, babe.
And it seemed you were alone, especially after Coley had left. You were alone because everyone else in that van had their people with them.
They had relationships, right? They had their own blood whānau with them the whole entire time. Not only that, these people were able to visit urupa and see their loved ones, whereas I wasn't even able to get to Parihaka. Right? Not even a 2-part Parihaka. So that's something that broke me on this kaupapa, was watching and being here with these people and watching them mihi to their loved ones. Right, who laid their foundations down for them to be here today, and I didn't have the opportunity to go see my kuia at Parihaka. Like that really, really broke me, but I still carried on. It's one of the reasons why you see me broken throughout the whole haringa is because of that fact that I missed Parihaka. Parihaka is everything to me. Not only that, so is Rāwhana. Rāwhana is a real big thing to me, and so when that event went down there, right, me and Coley were broken from. Like, honestly, because that's our home. That's our proper kainga. Rāwhana, it's a place for us to go and celebrate the achievement of what T.W. Rāwhana did when he was alive. It's also a place for us to understand the tahawairua that comes down upon us. And it's beautiful to hear your fellas' experience after that, because that's exactly what Rāwhana was set up for. From the 23rd to the 25th, is all a celebration. That incident with the fight, that happened
on the 22nd, yeah. It was, yeah.
Cool. But from the 23rd to the 25th, right, there's all celebrations, and that's exactly what you followed the spear, you know?
Yeah. Friday night, yeah.
4 days.
Yeah, 4 days, the whole weekend.
So it was so beautiful that our lip crew, like when I caught up with the lip crew, it was beautiful to hear from them that they actually stayed at Rāwhana for the celebration. Like that made everything worth it. Missing Parihaka, that made everything worth it. Because I've been preaching on TikTok for over 2 years now that if people want to learn more about Tāwhipo Tiki Werevu Rāwhana, show up every year in January, from the 23rd of January to the 26th of January. Because those are the times you're going to hear from the people, learn from the people exactly what T.W. Rāwhana stood for. Nā te tiriti o Waitangi ki te ringa o Mātou, nā prae te ture ki te ringa Māui. Te tiriti o Waitangi to the right hand and the scriptures to the left. such a beautiful celebration. So, yeah, they're committee.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful celebration.
You get to Waitangi, and one thing that I really noticed that I saw from it, from being here, was Tahu made it up there and embraced you, Aperehama. Can you tell us how you felt seeing Tahu?
So, from the whānau incident to Waitangi, I never allowed myself to break down, to cry, to shed a tear. Now, when Tahu showed up there in Waitangi, that was the first time I was able to break down and shed a tear. And I just held Tahu for a long time. He knew exactly what was going on with my wairua. He knew exactly what was going on with my tinana, and he knew exactly what I was thinking. And as soon as I saw that man, I just broke down. Just fully broke down. It was a time where I could break down because none of the organisers were there at Waitangi at that time. An incident happened in Waitangi where the organisers disappeared to the ACON, and I turned around and told all of Waitangi a lie. I think that they were tired to go back and rest. That's not the actual truth, but that's the lie I told. So yeah, being separated from the organisers at Team Tahu, I was able to finally just release all the pain, all the struggle, all the hurt, all the trauma, everything. I was able to cry on the shoulders, and I mean fully cry on the shoulders there at Waitangi. There was a lot of healing that happened to me at Waitangi because I spent the whole night at Waitangi. Right, the whole night at Waitangi. And because I spent the whole night at Waitangi, I was able to teach from Taurangatira. So I was able to teach all these kōrero from Taurangatira. I was able to teach these kōrero from Marae Ātea there in Waitangi. I was able to teach these kōrero inside the Hātana tent as well. Not only that, wherever I travelled along Waitangi, everyone was stopping me to learn my mana tauranga. So I am well known in Waitangi for these kōrero. Right, for my mana tauranga. And I don't come from
the beach and teach.
Aye, so there was heaps of people who stopped me along the beach there when I was sitting with our lip crew, wanting to know more information about this. Now, I was only able to teach everyone that night because I was able to break down on top. A lot of people don't realise this, but Tahu Pōtiki Weremu Rāwhana has a lot of his grandfather's traits. And through his grandfather's traits, he has the ability to heal those who are broken. And I mean that. He has the ability to rebuild those who are broken. So that's exactly what T.W. Rāwhana does for me.
And I can testify to that, my bro, because that's what we got the day after.
For me, personally, Te Whānau, Waitangi was my instinct. While I was there that night, I had a lot of taurangatira from all over the country come see me that night. It's one of the reasons why I believe Waitangi was my end spot. Now, because of my own ignorance and because I was naive, I carried on instead of leaving the group. I should have left the group straight then and there, but I stuck it. Yeah, stop giving me those evils.
I think at Waitangi, please can we just go home?
But yeah, because of my ignorance, I listened, so we carried on, and we all know what happened after that. So,
when that incident happened, that's when you left Aperehama. Like, just for me, for my knowledge, that's when you left after that happened? Or not?
When the incident happened, I didn't. Well, the incident in Hīkoi, after the incident in Hīkoi, that's when I left. Now, that night, my wife texted one of the organisers and stated that she wanted me home. Now, in my household, wahine laid the kaua, and men build on what that wahine laid down. So we built tikanga on that kaua that she laid down. And because she asked for me to come home, I said, oh, well, that's me, I'm going home. Now, the crew, they didn't want me to go. They wanted me to finish, but unfortunately, me, myself, I kind of had this debate within myself because they were no longer doing it for the people. That incident onwards, it was only the organisers that would complete the kaupapa, and that was never what the kaupapa was about from the beginning. At the beginning of the kaupapa, it was a grassroots movement for the people, by the people. At the end of Hīkoi, there was a proverb told to me there, many are called, few are chosen. And the proverb was told to me by them to state that only the chosen were selected to carry this out. So as soon as I did that proverb, I knew straight away that these people are not about the people, they are about themselves. So when my wife sent that text through, I was like, yeah, nah, I'm going home. And so the next morning happened, and then the cousins, Haati Bei and Tohu, they came pick me up from Paparori's to take me back to Rātana. So I can leave all the hara at Rātana and then carry on to my beautiful Raukura. So I don't carry all that 3-week bullshit into my own living space. But kind of like what Coley said earlier on there, he didn't want to dump all of that onto his wife and somebody. Same thing for me.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And because you went to Tahu's, how long did you stay there before you went back home?
Just one night.
Just one night,
Just
yeah.
one night. We just stayed there longer because I was waiting for my clothes to dry because I wanted to wash my hat and my t-shirt of Iwi Whakamahu. So that way when I go in front of the Teme Para and give my thanks to all the people who participated, it'll be a clean shirt, clean hat, you know, and I was all nice and clean as well. That's the reason why we stayed there after longer, so I could have time in the Teme Para. And I spent a couple of hours inside the Teme Para after recording that video. It's just something that I had to do myself as someone who follows Te Taha Wairua o Te Reo Rangatira.
And we actually got to korero with you when you were there. It was beautiful to see you and talk to you since we last seen you in Rātana. So yeah, it was good to catch up with you when you were there to see you.
And that's the time that I actually apologise to you too, because I could finally talk to you, and apologise to what happened at Haati and at Rātana. But because I know you fellas were hurt by not only by the substance abuse that took place, but by the words that were said at Haati. And that for me, I knew how much you fellas had sacrificed. You sacrificed your time, you sacrificed your finances, and you sacrificed a whole bunch of other things just to come here to Aotearoa, New Zealand, to be a part of this kaupapa. So, nei aku miri kia kōrua, thank you for doing that. Thank you so much.
We got the phone call about, 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we went and packed him up. But we didn't go straight to Rātana, so I've got to give a shout out to Tor for having us for the night.
One of the reasons why we stopped at Tor was to rehabilitate him. Because a lot of shit went down on Iwi Whakamahu. Now, stopping there was to help the brother out to be rehabilitated because of the stuff that was said. Stopping at Rātana was the same thing, to rehabilitate me. And
after Rātana, you go home and you put yourself on a 7-day media band. Just to reconnect with your wahine and your tamariki. Yeah, like I sort of wanted to reach out to you through that time, but I knew I'd just leave him be. What was that 7 days like for you, just to connect back with your whānau, being back home?
Oh, man, that 7 days was awesome. I was just chilling and having fun with my moko kuna and my wife. My kids were just going here, everywhere. I'm going to be honest, my tamariki are pukuriri. They are fucking angry as fuck at what their father went through while on kaupapa. So because they're angry, I let them go do their hey, go have some fun with your kids, go chill out with your mates, go see your girlfriend, boy, you know, just go do something, kids stuff, and then come see dad later on. And so they did. And my community knew that as long as I've got moko with me and I'm close to mum, then I'm free there. But all my kids are very, very angry. So the 7-day stand down was also a strategy of mine and a tactic of mine. Because my phone broke and because I've got no way of communicating with the other organisers, the 7-day stand down was just a noho. So in Te Ao Māori, noho puku means sit, because when you sit in silence, sitting in silence speaks louder than words. That's one of the reasons why I had that 7-day stand down. And during that 7-day stand down, unfortunately, you other organisers, you fell for my trap. They fell for my trap by giving out a hip piece. When they did that hip piece, that's when they lost all credibility. That's where they lost all accountability and everything from that hip piece that they released, because they also released the personal information about my wife. So unfortunately for them, that 7-day stand down there, released that hip piece, destroyed them. Not only that, but a couple of days after that, Matthew Tukaki comes out with an email from Don Brass stating that the band was paid for by Hobson's Speech. So now, the big lie stating that we weren't funded by Hobson's Speech finally comes undone. And that's 2 days before I came back to social media. And I had no clue that any of this was going on until after I posted my video on social media. That's when I found out all these things. So Aye, it was very strategic on my side to have that 7-day stand down because it makes everyone else in the community spew or panic because they don't know what I'm going to release, what I'm going to say. So that was the purpose of the 7-day stand down. It wasn't really to connect with my wife or my mokopuna. It was just to let social media and the duck there on social media settle. To let the duck settle. That's what the 7-day stand down was for. Unfortunately, my side, the duck settled, but the other side, for some reason, created a tornado or sorts. And so when I came back to social media, I was cracking up. Because unfortunately, the break fell for a lot of people's trips. Like getting banned from the North and seeing the maungungu and the celebrations there and thinking that they're having a wee about you, bro. The biggest trick ever. The biggest trick ever. So, that was the whole point about the 7-day stand down there. It was just to let the dust settle on social media and all of that. And I had no comms or no communications with anyone during that 7-day period. I didn't even see your followers live that you followers had done.
Off the Grid really set them up there, didn't he? With that post. Cracker. And then the one after was, the one after was a real cracker.
That 7-day stand down, because of that 7-day stand down, the fear that these people were feeling fucking shot through the roof now. And because it's through the roof now, they were easily able to fall for people's tricks. And they did that left, right, and centre, falling for everyone's tricks to the point where they've got no rebuttal, no comeback, no accountability, no transparency, and the main thing, no credibility to the words that they say.
Credibility's gone.
Yeah.
My first red flag on all of that was when you're misleading information with where you're meant to be. For example, making out like you're in Aotearoa when you're not. That was the start of even all that, even the small piece of it, and it just got bigger and bigger from there. When we left and come back here, we kept our silence from the banoffee pie incident. Inside me, it was just like wanting to put it out there to let people know, but I knew I couldn't do that. I just had to let the Hīkoi play out and the way it played out and not influence it in any such way. And we were getting a lot of messages from a lot of people, speak up, what's happening? How come burning bridges isn't there? And all this stuff going down, but we just had to remain silent until the time was right. Yeah,
aye. That's the practice of nohopuku. Right? And it's a tough practice to do because I know you fellas, like the whole look through and you fellas, I can guarantee you fellas all want to come out and share your testimony. Now, I don't have a clue on why you never, but I'm so happy that she's waiting for me to separate myself away from her before you did come out and say it. So thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, you said I wasn't allowed to until I got home.
And we didn't want to say anything because we wanted to wait for it to finish. We said that even before we left New Zealand because we were getting a lot of messages from different people about it, and because we were there and we're respectful and we just go, look, we're going to wait. We out of respect, we just want to wait for the kaupapa to finish. And that was out of respect for you as well. And like T said, it played out perfect because when you let people say the things and fester and then shit comes up and then you're kind of like, oh yeah, this is why I waited, you know. And it pretty much worked out perfect. As in the truth always reveals itself. Yeah.
And then by the time it came to us doing our lives, then with the like just there it all is.
Yep, there it all is. And it pieced out beautifully, actually.
To be honest, all the messages I got when I came back to social media and I saw fellas live, wow. You fellas actually rehabilitated a lot of our nation during your life. Thank you for doing that. Coley, you fellas that burning bridges, Haati Bei, Tahu, I don't know who else was on that live, but whoever else was on that live, they got to be the amount of messages and phone calls I got when I returned was just absolutely beautiful because through your fellas' conversation on that live, you were able to rehabilitate those who never took part.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And rehabilitate
ourselves. We all had that serious one with burning bridges, and then we sort of went and all joked about it with liquor and had a good time.
Yeah, that was perfect.
We did. We literally did. We left burning bridges behind and we went straight to liquor.
Well, I love that. That was so good.
Yeah, that was cool.
Because obviously there's certain things that, well, I would like to say and be straight up about, but there's only to a certain point. And that I can say what I really want to say. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, we've got to protect ourselves and protect our brand. So there's certain things that we don't want to go into either with all that. And other people are going to bring that truth out, which they did.
Yeah. And so even that, hey, it played out well. We got to have that side of it being that serious quartet or and we got to be lighthearted about it and let's have some fun with it.
Yeah. Nah, that was so cool.
Just rolling how we trolls people.
Yeah. Have we got you in, Coley? Okay, now I want to move forward to what we're up to now with Aperehama and Coley doing a Hīkoi that's kicking off on the 16th of March. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry, because Coley's on Ramadan at the moment and probably his first feed for the day, fasting. Oh, well, you go have your feed. Aperehama will lead us with it. Do you just want to talk with what you're doing and the reason why this is happening, this Hīkoi you're doing now?
Yeah, so Coley touched on it earlier there, the guilt that he felt for being a part at the very beginning. Kaupapa, it's the same thing I felt, man. When we found out that Hobson's Beach was involved, we just felt dirty. We felt yuck. We felt like kaupapa, right, to our people. So that's one of the reasons why I reached out to Coley to see if he wanted to be a part of this. So a lot of stuff went down as was discussed. Now, this Hīkoi that Coley and I are a part of next is only for us. It's only for us. It's a way of restorative justice, and it's a way to pay the UTU for the mafutu that was made. Now, I can't explain that properly in English, but those of us who are from Te Ao Māori fully understand that. They'll fully understand when the mafutu began. That's one of the reasons why we are doing this. So on the 16th of March, we are leaving Wainui o Mata, and we are walking the entire system to Rātana. When we get to Rātana, we will be raising a flag. That flag is not this flag here, but it's our colour. The first colour that we ever had as a nation, or the Haati Tuataki, which is the first flag. So that's what we're doing on the 20th of March. Now, one of the reasons why those specific dates is the 20th of March in 1834 is when we get Te Whakamenena and the rising of that flag. When that flag went up for the first time, it got a 21 gun salute. So when we go back pre-treaty or before the treaty, that colour represents us as a nation. This is before the word Māori was ever even thought of. That's the whole point about it. And the only reason why we're keeping it with just me and Coley is we don't have the time to plan for other people to join us on this kaupapa. However, we will have checkpoints along the way for people to come and tautoko us ākanohiti te kanohiri at these spots. This is a mission for me and Coley to take because we both feel guilty about our part that we played in handing over our stuff to our anti-Māori organisation. And it follows our old school practices of restorative justice. I've already sat outside my whaharua in Wainui o Mata. Unfortunately, there was a tangihanga there, so my auntie just told me to come back on things. So so that's what we're up to. And from yesterday right through to the 15th, I'm sending out karanga every day to all the hapu and iwi that we stopped at, asking for their forgiveness. If they want to come get it off me and Coley, because we are the organisers of Iwi Whakamahu, and this next kaupapa that we are on is something to correct the mistakes that happened yesterday. What's your name for it, Coley? Should we call it Utu Whakatika?
Utu Whakatika.
I think that's a good one. We haven't really spent a lot of time thinking about it, but I think I thought I'm pretty sure it was Utu Whakatika.
So for those the Pākehā, Utu is in the reference of Utu. Can you give the meaning of utu as in like, okay, you've got revenge and you've got justice, right? Yeah. Yeah, restorage, yeah.
Basically, the easiest way to explain utu, it isn't about revenge, but it's about reconciliation. That's actually what utu is, reconciliation. So reconciliation is rebuilding the bridges that were burnt.
Ooh, chair. Yeah. Love that one.
But that's it. Me and Coley are going on this path to rebuild the bridges that we have burnt out with our part that we played as organisers in Iwi Whakamahu and taking this across the whole entire nation, half nation, restorative justice. And that's basically what utu is today. It isn't about revenge and eye for eye. It's about mending the relationship that was broken.
And that's multicultural protocol. When things aren't done correctly, you do this, practice this for forgiveness.
Yeah, and like I think that the act of physically walking too from Whānau Womata all the way to Ratana, I hope that our people can accept that as a token of our sincerity as far as the apology.
Very proud of you for doing this. This is massive.
Yeah, it's very honourable and very beautiful that you are doing this. Used to from the part of the organisers that want to correct things and make things right for the mutu of where you went about your aroha to all the whānau that hosted you in each place. I'm so glad we went there and done this because we have this connection. Whanaungatanga, it's beautiful. and I can say this over and over again. It's, I love you so much. Yep. Whakawhanaungatanga with the au.
Be the au.
Be the au. Do it.
And so with stops along the way, can people just reach out to you both on your social medias if they want to see where you're at? How's that going to be shown or what's happening with all that?
Yeah, so throughout the event, I'm going to bring my my gimbal and I'll make sure we're going live and keeping everyone updated the whole time. So I personally may be the one holding the camera this time as to being on the camera, and I think Aperehama will be playing the significant role. That's how I like it.
Well, funny you say that there, funny you say that. I also too am having a good point in the future of next week, so I can go live as well. So might be grateful or we'll take a break.
You don't know how hard it is just even to hold that for so long. Your fingers get sore.
It's all about muscle memory and dexterity. That's the word, dexterity.
Yeah.
Now, when you do this, don't try to be like me and do it straight. So if you have a look at your natural way you hold your hands, just relax. If you notice that you've got natural curves. So the easiest way to do it is to actually have the bend. Because if you're stretching your hands out to make it tight, it's going to hurt your hands.
Yeah, that's why I'm getting sore.
Yeah, if you let it become natural, it's just a lot easier to do. Okay? So it's easier just to relax your hands and do it. As long as you know the kōrero, you'll know how to put. The only reason why I have my fingers straight up like this is to emphasize what it looks like.
Oh.
Good.
Starting on the 16th of March?
Yes, early in the morning, roughly around about 8 a.m.
And for 4 days, you're walking 4 full days to get to Ratana. And there is a significance when you get there to Ratana, the date?
The 20th?
Yes, the 20th. 20th of March.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very big. The rising of the flag, like I said, 20th of March, 1834. That's the big thing.
Is there something I'm missing? Is there something I'm missing here about the 20th?
All right.
40 years ago, in 1986, the 20th of March, the beautiful tauranga tira raukura ne from Paranapina to Wharetua, Tongariro ne was born in a place called Wainui o Mata. Now, I don't know who was first to know, I guess that's what I knew.
That's
Rāwhānau.
Cool.
So, yeah, Then I will meditate.
Yeah.
It was my 40th on that day. That's the day I was also born in 1980.
Mean, ka pai.
Ka pai.
He's only getting a cup of tea.
All right, I think we're done here, eh?
Yeah. Is there anything you guys want to mention or say or talk about before we finish up?
I just want to thank you guys. I just want to thank Burning Bridges just for being, just for doing everything that you guys do. Yeah, it's all from me, whānau.
Ka pai, Coley.
Ka pai, Coley. Thanks.
Kia ora.
He's often, you say never hear from me.
Yeah, we do. We love you too.
Hang on, next time, te wāna, ka tutu me hia te kia koe, Coley, me tō whānau, me tō hapu, ako kia te aku maara tu tā wai, Ia wā ka tute rati a koe, ka tute atu i tō tāua nei, awa titua e rere kia ngati tō kanoni. Nā reira nei aku mi kia koe. Uri ati kia koe, Haati Bei, ne kua ua, ne ai ngā awhati ngā tiko rari. Ne nui ati kia koe, ne tapu honga ngā ne, awa hapu tua kore ki te otinga. I know how to fill out posts. Now, this time I'll do it in this language. Thank you so much for having us on. Thank you so much for allowing the opportunity of our organisers to come and be a part of your podcast. Thank you for taking the time to come over and joining the kaupapa of Iwi Whakamahu Heal the Nation. And thank you so much for building relationships with all of us across the city. Like, it truly is an honour. It truly is an honour. I'd like to be in your function presence. So, nei aku me I ka pūrua tahi ne, and finally, shout out to Uncle Tamahai ne. Without Uncle Tamahai, that ranga tira, that uncle of yours, man, he is the ranga of ngā tira. Uncle Tamahai, myself there, I never accepted his chair when we were walking.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, thank you, fellas. We love you so much. So proud of you guys. And we're just so grateful that the universe has brought us together. And I just can't wait for next steps for everybody here individually and as a group. Just so much love from me.
Yes, we've got beautiful plans moving forward, and we've got a lot of things happening, and I know you too, especially Aperehama and Coley with your Hīkoi coming up on the 16th, and that's going to bring a lot to a lot of the people around and bring everyone closer together too. I know especially both you, Aperehama and Coley, you get a lot of aroha from a lot of people. So that we even see, even some of the clips that we put up, it's nothing but love for both of you. And yeah, we love you all so much. And thank you, Haati Bei, as well.
Thank you, sis.
Yeah, you're beautiful. And thanks for being with us and spending this time with us here. I think we all should go out with the duits.
Duits. Duits. See you later.
Te whānau.
Ka kite.
Okay.
Rami.
Homare. Love yous.
Ka kite.
Ka kite.
This is about making mistakes, burning bridges and trying again. Completing the journey once started. Let's go back to where it began. Yo, I chose a road I was willing to take. Absolutely loving every memory I'm about to make. Feeling the love from strangers I ain't met. With all these new friends watching the sunset. We all on different journeys, but the walk's the same. The thoughts in our heads, it's time to tame. Positives and negative, cons and pros. Let's have a chat with all of the sisters and bros. Listening to the stories, one by one. Hearing life's misfortunes, making us feel done. It's time to break free, time to get clean. Washing away the pain and hurt, letting that life be. Making mistakes, feeling the pain. Rebuild your bridges, feeling more sane. Making mistakes, feeling the journey, I'm feeling my life. Missing everybody from my kids to my wife. Feeling the release with each step I take. Finally realizing what's real and what's fake. Now I have the tools that makes me a better man. To my wife and kids, yeah, I'm your biggest fan. I never truly realized how much I needed healing. It's now that I truly understand what I'm feeling. Thank you to all that made this all possible. Being on this journey has made me feel unstoppable. Making mistakes